your goal obviously is just to pass, okay? And this has nothing to do with your abilities as an analyst or as a portfolio manager or as a professional or person at all, okay? And this is just an industry standard or requirement that you need, you know, to move up or get in. And so let's get it over with. And when you get on to the next level, you're going to study all over again. It's, even though the topic names are the same, it's a different set of material. And really, there isn't much linkage between level 1 and level 2 and level 3. So don't think that you have to do really well at level 1 to do well at level 2 and level 3. That's a myth, okay? This is it. The next thing that I just wanted to talk about here is a passing score. Passing score. So does anybody know, you know, what you think the passing score is? Hey, anyone have any ideas? Hey, no. Okay. Well, all right. Okay. Everyone's so silent. Okay. No problem. I was going to try to use this kind of technology here. Okay. Well, okay. I mean, a passing percentage might be in 40%. I mean, passing score of 70. Okay. All right. I mean, thinking about those, you know, people often say that, you know, do you need 70% to pass? Okay. I mean, the percentage of candidates that pass is about 40%. So here's how I'm going to break this down. Okay. And this is for just December, you know, after this December exam, if we're allowed to write it. Okay. I hope I didn't spoil anything. I mean, you know, you never know, but there's the exam's changing, but for December, there's 240 questions. Okay. And so these are broken down in terms of the topics. And so I think, you know, let's see here. I mean, 60%, let's give ourselves a little bit of room here to write this down here. Okay. So a mark of 60%, that's 144 out of 240. And a mark of 70% is 168. So, okay, I mean, I'm no genius. I think that it's got to be somewhere in between 60 and 70%. And so what I say is this, just drop it right in the middle. 160, it's funny how that's right in the middle. 160 out of 240, that's about 66%. Okay, that's what I think you need to pass this exam. Okay, so your job is going into this exam and saying, how much material do you need to know to be able to build up that 160 marks, to get 160 correct answers? And, you know, let's say, you know, we're talking about the quants here, QM, and, you know, you no matter how much you love the quants, there's only 24 questions coming on our exam. Only, I shouldn't say, okay, but man, there's so much material, 24 questions. So if you really think that you're great at the quants and you're doing really well at the quants and you're going through practice questions and, you know, you think that you're going to get about 80% on that. So, you know, I think that would be a really amazing score. Okay, so I mean, this is, you know, let's just say I can't do 80, but let's say 19. Okay, so if you think you're going to get a really high score, 79%, that's 19 out of 24. Okay, that's only making 5 mistakes. I mean, that's amazing. I mean, you know, the target, you know, I always say my target that I think you should go for is at least to get 18. Okay, and if you're back at 17 or 16, you know, you're back with the rest of the pack. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Here's what I would do. Okay, so let's clear this off, and let's say you're practicing your quants and you're going through it, and, you know, no matter how much you study, you can only seem to get about 50, 60%. Okay, so, you know, let's say you can only get 14 out of 24. Okay, you're struggling with it. Okay, these are 14 items that you know. And I keep thinking about this as, okay, so if I need 160 marks to pass and I'm counting on getting 14 marks from the quants, now you need 146 marks, and where are those coming from? So then I go to the next section and I look at the economics and I do the same thing. And again, there's 24 questions in economics. And by going through practice questions and being honest with yourself, you start to get an idea of, what you can reasonably expect on the exam. And this is building up to get yourself over the passing score. And it starts with being honest, okay? And you know what? If you're doing quizzes and you're practicing and you're only getting 50% and you're doing that honestly, then that's okay. You go and you learn the other material. I mean, that's the best, okay? I mean, I'll tell you, here's my example of what I say. So let's say you are doing a test and you get 50%, okay? So the items you don't know, and the items you know. So the first thing is, let's be honest with ourselves. Did you guess? Or did you just get lucky? Did you really know what you were talking about? If I'm checking all those boxes, yes, I didn't guess. I really knew what I was talking about. Good. Then you know it. And there's no need to study it any further, okay? You can review it, keep it fresh in your mind, but you want to use your time, your limited time now, to go after these items which you don't know. So what are you going to do? Well, you're going to look at that quiz, or you're going to look at that section. You're going to look at the answer. Does that help you? Does the study notes help you that I've given, the quick summary? You can reach out for help, ask a question, say, hey, I just did not get it. You were talking about chi-squared. I just didn't get it. Okay. That way, I can help frame it towards the exam and keep you moving. Okay, if that, it doesn't help, or, if you still need more, you can turn to the curriculum. You could read the section in the curriculum. I mean, you could do that anyway. So, but the thing is, what you want to do is you really want to focus in really quickly to start learning what you don't know. I mean, this is going to really propel you past the score that you need to get on to level 2. Okay, you guys okay so far? Okay. All right, let me just clear this off just so that I can have some room again just to write. So, really, let me put you to ease, okay? I mean, there's no one out there is getting 90, okay? If I wrote the exam, would I get 90? I don't know. Would I pass? Yes, I'm really confident I'd pass, okay? And that's my objective. Okay, so get that out of your mind. 90%, forget it. 80%, okay, yeah, maybe the top scores are, the top scores are in the 80s. I'd say so, but get that out of your mind, okay? Really, let's drop right down and say, about 66%. This is going to take a lot of pressure off of you, okay? The content is so vast. You know this. So there's a lot of leeway for candidates, and I'll explain to you what I mean by that leeway. Okay, so leeway. Okay, so I don't know if others are looking at it from this point of view, but I've gone through a lot of standardized industry exams. I've proctored, I've taught, I have created exams and gone through them, Canadian securities course, financial planning courses, mutual funds, the licensing courses, okay, CFA. Now these exams are broken down in terms of their levels of difficulty, and 50% of the questions are easy. Okay, so I'm really confident that when you get on that exam, if you've turned the pages, if you've done practice questions and you studied, I really doubt you're going to get less than 50%. Okay, so now 50% is not a pass. Okay, 30% of the questions are difficult. Okay, so you're learning things that are new. I mean, what was that about duration again and convexity and okay, maybe those are your easy ones. Okay, so 30% is difficult. And now 20% of the exam questions are WOT, a waste of time. Okay, I'm telling you this, that these are, no matter how much you read, where did this come from? Okay, I mean, they could find any minuscule piece of trivia. Wait till you get to the equity section and you start reading about ADRs, okay? So they could pick any piece of trivia, and how are you supposed to remember this? Okay, so you're not. Okay, so keep that in mind. Nobody is, you're getting, 90. You're not, this is not designed to get 90%. That's not what you need to pass this exam. Okay, so what you need to do, as I talk about building your knowledge base, building those knowledge items in this easy section here, okay, this is your job, is to make sure that you're being honest with yourself and adjusting for exam day jitters and other things, misreading questions. I think that on those easy marks, you should be able to get about 95%. Okay, so you're looking at 47.5% right there. Okay, I mean, we know that's not a pass. That's my 47.5%. Okay, percent right there. Okay, all right. Now come down to the difficult marks here. Okay, and let's just think about these difficult marks. So if you can add in, well, let's say you could just get 50% of this. Okay, they're difficult and you're only getting 50%. Well, that adds in 50% of 30, that adds in another 15. Okay, so I'm adding these two up here, 47 and 15. I mean, I'm already at 62.5%. Okay, borderline in my opinion, in terms of the pass. Okay, and out of these, a waste of time. Yep. 20%. Okay, so what does that mean? In terms of questions. Okay, so I think that means that there's going to be let's see here, 12 questions. 20%. What am I talking about? The morning session has 120 questions. The afternoon session has 120 questions. So I think that you're going to see about 48 questions. Okay, 24 in the morning and 24 in the afternoon that you're going to look at. You're going to go, where, okay, come on. Where did this come from? I've got no idea. Okay, these are the things, maybe they're just the ones that, you never sunk in. But I can't believe that they had this question on Bayes there. I don't know if that's okay one, but I'm just saying, okay, they had a mean difference. I'm picking on quants. All right, no problem. Our exam is a 1 out of 3 exercise, A, B, and C. Okay, so even if you guessed, you should have an expected mark of 33%. And so 33% times 20, okay, so 33% times 20, this adds in another 6 marks or so. Okay, so let's just think about this. Okay, so I hope I got that right. So if you can get just guessing 33%, so 33% of 20 is about 6. Okay, 6.6%, 6.7%. I don't know. Okay, so adding this 6.7%, I mean, we're almost up to 70%. Okay, that's a 69.5%. I've been talking about this for 20 years, doing it this way. Okay, really. So this is how it breaks down. So what your job is, and you started to cut into the material here, so now you're getting a sense of this. Your job then is really, you've got to uncover what is your easy marks. I said there's a lot of leeway on this exam. So now let's fill in what that leeway means. I might love quants, you might hate quants. I might love economics, you might hate it and love accounting. We all have different strengths and weaknesses. So the exam accounts for this. There's leeway. So I don't need to get perfect on each section. You know, I remember going through this exam process and I worked it out that I only needed to get 50%. I used to think, oh, the accounting was the tough part. It's funny. I mean, I went through the old CGA program. So I'm not a practicing accountant, but I mean, okay, even with an accounting background, I found it tough. So I worked it out. I knew myself so well that I said, okay, even if I just get 50% on the accounting section, I'm still going to pass this exam because my other areas were strong and we're able to make up for it. And we're able to build up to the 160 marks that I think you need to pass this exam. So this is the way that I want you to approach this material, and it's going to take a lot of pressure off. You know, gone are the days of mastering the material and, you know, thinking about it as you're learning this to be a master. You probably won't use most of the material in your career. You'll focus in on one area. Okay. I think I could be one of the only people in the world who uses all of the material because I teach it. Okay. But I really doubt that there's too many people going into this exam and they've got everything mastered. Forget that. Okay. So I want to take the pressure off you right now. As you're going through material, okay, you are naturally going to identify items that you know and you don't know, okay? And the ones you know easily, those are, you know them now, keep reviewing them, you'll know them on exam day. And so those fit into the 50% that I call easy, okay? And so you really have to make sure that you're not fooling yourself. If you're going through questions and you're just guessing and you weren't sure, don't count that, okay? Because that's where the strategy falls apart. Then we're going to work together and we're going to fill in the gaps here. You know, I mean, I'm just saying, if you could just get 50% on those difficult ones. I mean, remember the expected value is, expected mark is 33%. So just by guessing, can we add in, just add a little extra there, 17%? I think we can, okay? So then when you come across something which is impossible, you just put it into your waste of time basket and say, you know what, this isn't something that I'm going to, you know, waste my time on. What you're going to do is you're going to run it by me. You're going to say, you know, Brian, I've come across this topic. What do you think? And I will tell you, based on my experience from dealing with thousands of candidates, I will say, you know what, you're not alone. Year after year, everybody comes back to me, most candidates, same thing. That's a good one to let go because most candidates aren't going to get it. Oh, this topic? No, you better make sure that you know it and let's learn it. What's your trouble? What's your difficulty? Let's overcome that. And I'll say that because I think most candidates will be able to handle it on the exam. So you will need to be able to handle it on the exam. And that is the way that you move through the CFA program 1, 2, 3 without any snags. So, you know, if you're really focused in and trying to master why and where is this coming from? Okay, no, okay, noble, very nice, but you're not even going to get past chapter 1. Okay, you know that there's so much material here and it's really not designed for this. If you have not done this already, go right on to CFA Institute's website, go log in, go under the resources, look at their online test bank, pull up some questions, print them off if you can, print them, print the screen, whatever you can do for your own personal use. Don't start sending it around the internet. Okay, but start looking at questions. You know, if you think that you're good at quants, grab 20 questions there and see how you do. And if you get 18 out of 20 and you were honest and you're like, yeah, I knew this material, I wasn't fooled. Okay, no problem. I think that you've got a pretty solid handle on it. And you don't need to read every word then in the curriculum, and you can just continue to practice questions there. And that's the way that you can go through this material, okay? Then when you come across something that you don't know, remember there's leeway. I don't think we're masters of all topics. And if that's fixed income, then yeah, spend the time going through the fixed income material. Okay, that's really the way that you need to approach this. So it's all about identifying what you know and what you don't know. And the place where I can add value, a lot of value, is helping you learn the material that you don't know. And I used to say this in class all the time. If we're just going over material that you already know, it's a waste of our time. You already know it. So let's not do that. Let's learn things that we don't know. So for these type of sessions, for us to be able to get together, it's a great opportunity then, and for you to take away or to take advantage of it, is to come in armed and ready. Okay, I've got questions and let's go through them. That is ideal. That is fantastic, because now we are expanding your knowledge base, and now we are certainly covering, progressing through this material the way we should to get over that passing score. Okay, so maybe this first session just turns into a pep talk to keep you going. A lot of people, just again, need that little extra motivation. If you're shy or anything, look, don't worry, we're a small group. We're all in this together. We're all, here to help each other. So don't be shy. I kind of view this like the tutorial, the study group from the big lecture hall. Okay, so we're all here going through it together. If you're on the lessons, some people are putting postings up in the discussion, and I'm dropping my comments there. And, don't be shy if you want to add a comment as well. It's a community that we're in. So there's a lot of touch points to get the support. And, I guess as we progress along, I know what happens. We start to build up those questions. But what I just want to get across to you is I just don't want you to feel like you're alone and this is it, and it's a bunch of recordings. If you have feedback also, let me know, okay? If the jokes are corny and you're saying, I can't stand it, this guy pops in, let me know, okay? I really want to know, because what I want to do is make it an enjoyable experience for you going through the material. And I'm reworking a lot of the stuff that's up there, and I will be adding in some other questions. I really believe in doing a lot of practice questions and exercises, so I will be putting those. I don't want to overload people, but I really think that there's a lot of value in going through practice questions. There's no hiding. Either you know it or you don't know it, and that's it. And I remember my notes were just like a listing of these items that I just didn't know, and I just went through and then just overcame those. And well, I can still remember, I think I did get over 70 in most topics. They used to give you the breakdown. I think the topic that I did not get over 70 was a new topic that was on the exam. I think I wrote the 1997 level 1 exam, and I studied from the 1995 study notes material from, they're not even around anymore. I think they were called Stala. So that tells you when I did this. But anyway, it didn't even matter. I passed, okay? And that's all that was important. Did level 2 the next year, level 3 the next year. And then, in 1999, I got the charter, and that was it. So there it is. What does it mean? It means, okay, great. I can go through the tests. This is what I do all day, my full-time job. I go through this material. So, if you're busy, listen, reach out, ask, okay, don't send me 100 questions or say, can you summarize the derivative book or something? But, I really want to help everyone pass. I really want to get everybody over that hump and on to the next level. And if you're stuck, I just really want to reinforce that you're not alone, okay? And that's the way that we're going through this. So, well, I don't know if anybody has any questions here. I
have a question.
Great.
Maria, hi.
Yeah, hi.
I was doing the TV time value money questions on the CFA website, and I'm just having some trouble understanding when to use what, when it's annuity due, or perpetuity. Like, how do you tell those apart?
Okay, well, okay, great question. Okay, so first of all, okay, annuity and annuity due. Okay, so the difference, just in case, this annuity, an ordinary annuity, has the cash flow at the end of the time period, and an annuity due has the cash flow at the beginning of the time period. Okay, so I mean, this is in a picture format, something that looks like this. I mean, we've got all these time periods, and it certainly changes our answer. If the cash flow occurs at the end of the time period, I'll just write this like this: end, and here this is at the end. And it certainly changes things if the cash flow were to occur at the beginning, B, and B. Okay, so it changes things in terms of our calculations. So how do we recognize this? Okay, so now under annuity due, so they may have some signals in the question. This is what you want to look for in the question, the language. If they say things like, obviously on January the 1st, that's at the beginning of the year. If they say something like on the anniversary, okay, or that says anniversary or birthday. Okay, these are all beginning of the year signals. Okay, if they say so I mean, I'm looking for this language. If they say that the payments are at the beginning, obviously, okay, then those are all signals for beginning of the year. I mean, they might just say annuity due. So these are signals: January the 1st, your anniversary, your birthday, beginning. Okay, they might say all these. Now let me also frame this down here: lease payments, PMT, lease payments, and rent payments. These are done at the beginning of the year. When do you pay your rent? When would you pay that? In the accounting section when we start talking about leases. So these would be at the beginning of the year. Okay. If we talk about bond coupons, or we talk about dividends from shares, these are end of the period cash flows. Okay, so now this is the way that I think that you should be able to separate this out. I mean, they may even have words like starting. Okay, so if they say starting, that may also be an indication, and I'll tell you what I mean by this. If we had just trying to think about this, if I had a payment which was starting at this time period, that could be an indication of a beginning of year. Maybe these shaded, that shaded region represents retirement or something out there. And what would I have at retirement? So it comes down to the language of the question. And so what you want to do when you're going through those CFA Institute questions, if they are using beginning value and or beginning mode, and you were using ending mode, go back, look at the question. What did it say? Did it say starting on a certain day, at the beginning of the month, or on an anniversary or birthday, or at the beginning of the period? So they have to have those signals. Okay. I hope that helps. Okay. And by the way, if you're doing these things and you want to bring in questions, that's great. Just bring those in. Okay.
Thank you.
Great. Okay, great. And so, now, okay, here's a quick question about probability, about independent and dependent events. Okay. And so, let's talk about this. Okay. So probability is a great one. Gives a lot of people a lot of trouble here. Okay. The probabilities. Okay, so let me give a little rundown and see if this helps. Okay, so now we could talk about a certain event. I don't know, whatever this is, event A, and the probability of event A. What's the chance that that event A occurs? Okay, and I could have another event or outcome. Okay, I mean, this could be earnings going up, could be earnings going down, this could be bankrupt, whatever it is. That's an outcome, that's an event. So what is the chance or what's the probability of event B occurring? So these are referred to as unconditional probabilities. Okay? And I'm really confident to say that in any exam question, they would have to start by giving you these unconditional probabilities. I mean, I really doubt that you're going back to odds for and odds against and having to turn that into probability. I really doubt that, okay? And, you know, like something like what's the probability of rolling a 1 on a 6-sided die, okay? I mean, there's 6 chances, 1 out of 6 is on my probability, okay? I really doubt that is happening, okay? So based on questions that I've seen from practice exams and their samples. So here's unconditional. And now, okay, there it is. You okay so far? Okay, I'm going to deviate from your question slightly, okay? And now I'm going to talk about conditional, something which is contingent. If something happens only if another event occurs, okay? So conditional probability. So conditional probability means an event occurs only if another event has occurred. So there's a sequence there. So if I wanted to say event A occurs, okay, here, so let's say A only if B occurs. Okay, so what is that in probabilities? So let's see here. A/B, and let me now just tell you what I'm writing here, okay? So this now says, what is the probability of event A occurring given that event B has occurred? What is the probability of A occurring only if B has occurred? This is a conditional probability, okay? So now these are linked together. Okay, so unconditional and conditional probabilities. Okay, are we okay on that so far? Okay, I hope so. Okay, let me just clear this off. And now let's put this in here. Okay, so now the question asked about independent events and events which are not independent. Okay, so events where we have a conditional probability, these are not independent. One event is occurring only if contingent upon another event occurring. They're not independent at all. Independent means that there's no conditional requirement. Either event could occur, both events could occur, none of the events could occur. That's what independent means. Okay, so now here's where the significant part comes in. The significant part comes in when we are trying to calculate the probability of both A and B. Okay, so if they are independent events, then the probability is just probability of A times the probability of B. That's for independent events. Okay, so there's no relationship. They talk about rolling a die. If I roll a die, or is it a dice? I don't know, a die. And I get a 1, and then I roll it again. What's the chance of getting a 1? Nothing. I don't know. Okay, I mean, maybe that's a bad example. I flip a coin, and the chance of getting a head is 50%. And I keep flipping it. The chance of getting a heads is still 50%. Okay, so if I want to keep, finding out what the chances of getting a head and then getting another head then I have to multiply these out. I hope that I explained it. That was terrible. Okay. Independent events, the probability of both of them occurring, the joint probability, this is referred to as the joint probability, is just simply multiplying out the probability of each event occurring. If they are not independent and there's a conditional requirement, okay, how are you going to understand that? Well, they may give you a conditional probability in the question. They may use the language, if this, then that, only if. So they'll use that kind of language. It's conditional upon this, okay? I will also talk about mutually exclusive. Okay, absolutely. Let's just finish this discussion now. So now if the events are not independent, I'm going to write this in a different color and I hope you can see it here. Okay, so, okay, what are we going to choose? We're going to choose this color here and I hope you can see it. The probability of A and B. Okay, and I'm actually going to write another one down here, the probability of A and B, because what I want to get across to you is actually, you know, yeah, that's right. What I want to get across to you is this, okay? No, I don't want to write that at this moment. I was trying to be too fancy. Let's just get rid of this for 1 minute. Before I do that, let me just come back up here to my probability of A and B, and I want you to realize this, that it makes no difference if I write this, probability of B times probability of A. Okay, sounds silly for me to write that, okay, but I'm going to use this as a demonstration. But first, I'm just going to clear the screen so that I can write instead of just in that little corner. Okay, so probability of A and B is equal to probability of A times probability of B. Independent events. Or we could write down probability of A and B is equal to the probability of B times the probability of A. Okay, you know that, okay? Let's drop down to events which are not independent. Okay, now I'm going to go back to that fancy color. Probability of A and B. So now let's watch this. It now depends on what information you're given in the question. So, well, let's say we are given the probability of A. So if we're given the unconditional probability of A, somewhere there has to be a statement that talks about B. And it is not the unconditional probability of B, it will be the condition. The probability that B occurs given that A has occurred. Kind of looks the same, in my opinion. Probability of A, and then this is the probability of B. This is the probability of B given that A has occurred. They were linked. They were not independent. What about if they give us in the question the probability of B? All right, well now I'll have to find in the question something that says something about the probability of A given that B has occurred, because they're not independent. Probability of A given that B has occurred. So I think this is the link into understanding the probability for, you know, where we're going, I think, on the exam for questions. And I want to back up by just saying, don't get carried away, because I don't think that they've got room for more than, you know, 2 questions, maybe 3 questions on this. And I'm pretty sure one's coming with Bayes' theorem. Okay. So I don't think that they're getting really in depth in terms of the probability material. This is all the math which underlies this is like calculating expected returns. Okay, this is calculating standard deviation and covariance. Okay, using this to calculate those portfolio theory concepts. Okay, so this is what I think you need to take away. Now, is this okay? I mean, answering the question about the independent, non-independent events, okay? Now, the concept of being independent and mutually exclusive, okay? So independent events means none, one, or both. So with independent events, there could be no events occurring. There might be one event occurring. There might be both events occurring. Okay. Mutually exclusive means simply one or the other. Okay. It means not both. Okay, so one or the other. That's really the way that I think it's applied here. This could be a link into corporate finance, or we start talking about in terms of these projects, and projects being independent or mutually exclusive. That's where I think that you may see this, okay, come in here. The probabilities here, and talking about this linking into the joint probabilities, okay, and whether or not these are mutually exclusive or independent events, okay, and that's the difference, okay. And so when you're calculating the probabilities, of both of them for mutually exclusive, I think that its probability of A and B is equal to the probability of A plus the probability of B minus the probability of A and B. I think that's when you're talking about mutually exclusive. They can't overlap. Okay, so don't get carried away. Yeah, go through practice questions. The end of chapter and the online has an abundance of questions. Okay, I think that's, they've done that. It may not be representative of what you can expect on the exam, okay, but I think it's very easy for them to contact a prof who's got a bank of questions that they could just use. And that's really where it's easy to write these kind of questions, okay. So I hope that helps out there, okay. And okay, so yeah, so that quants section, okay, the probability. Take us a look down a little further in the curriculum. You'll see how this is applied to calculating expected returns, standard deviation, and correlation, which are the inputs to modern portfolio theory. And that's where it's connected. Okay. All right, great. Okay, I like questions, and if you have, if you're stuck and you've got a picture of something, yeah, great. Even bring it or send it, and I'll put it up here and go through. That even helps me even more. Making up something on the spot, okay, that's tough, but okay, we can do it. Okay, and if I can't think about it off the top of my head, I'll put it in my little question parking lot, and I will get back to you on it. Okay, so that you can be moving forward through that curriculum. Okay, great. Okay, good. Okay, well, I mean, like I said, it's just a small group here, and I really wanted to make sure that we are not alone, okay, and that you are progressing through this material, and that, it is overwhelming, and, my thoughts on guiding you through it to try to direct you away from, remember what I said was like the real time traps, the waste of time. Okay, and that's the way you move straight through this. Okay, so well, hey, I think we've done some great work here, and this is really great that people have come out, and that's fantastic.